What is up, everybody? In this video, we're going to be talking about how to get your first speaking gig. This could be speaking on stage to an audience, speaking at a guest lecture at a university, or just doing a small business meetup chat. Let's dive right in.
I am Molly Bowski.
So if you're watching this video, you probably want to know, how the heck do I get my first speaking gig? Make sure you watch till the end, and by then you'll actually be prepared with what you need to do with next steps of actually making it happen. Let's start out with the basics. The idea of going about finding your first few public speaking gigs is actually really intimidating. I've been there before, so I know exactly how it feels. We see notable speakers like Gary Vee and others who are just naturals and think to ourselves, well, how the heck do I get on their level? That's the wrong way to look at it. Sure, it's aspirational, but it's not the best way to start out. You wouldn't pick up a basketball for the very first time on day one and say, I want to try to be on Michael Jordan's level, would you? The same goes for speaking. We all have humble beginnings, and that's okay. One of the hardest parts about breaking into getting your first few speaking gigs is that you likely don't have previous experience speaking before, and this is totally normal. But if you don't have experience speaking previously, then why would anyone want to bring you in to speak to their audience, at their event, in their classroom, etc.? I'll tell you exactly how. Just like when you want to land a job, if you have previous experience, it makes it a heck of a lot easier to get that position, if I'm using that analogy. But the great thing with speaking is, if you don't have previous experience speaking, that's okay. There's actually a workaround, and the workaround is as follows. You instead need to offer immense value based on your own personal life experience. Because if you can offer immense value to that individual that you're trying to get to have you speak, it doesn't really much matter if you have previous speaking experience, if any. Let me explain. We'll cover this with 3 tactical steps. The first is outreach to land speaking opportunities. When you first want to land early speaking engagements, you're most likely going to be the one reaching out. Most of this will take place via email, sometimes phone messages, but from my experience, it's going to happen via email. The way that you go about your outreach is really important, and you want to make sure in your message that you're keeping it short, concise, and you're offering lots of value. A while back, I wanted a guest lecture at a prestigious university in Europe, and I didn't do this as a paid gig, but I wanted to do this to bring value to all the entrepreneurship students there and to just make some connections. And I reached out to the dean at the university with this exact email. Notice how I offer value, I keep the email short, concise, and then as you can see in their response, they're happily interested to continue the conversation, which ended up leading to me guest lecturing at their university. And it all started with me sending a few sentence email and offering value to them. The second tactical step, which is huge, is speaking for free. Many of the very best speakers that we know spoke for free when they started out as well. It's a great way to build up your experience and build up your speaking resume, so that way when you're ready to speak at bigger events, you already have spoken at a lot of other small events leading up to that. So what you're doing is you've just checked off the checkbox that says you've previously spoke before. And by doing free speaking engagements, this is a really easy way for you to do this. Just remember, it's a long game, and over time, speaking for free will definitely pay dividends in the long run. So be patient. Okay, so the third and last tactical step that is really important is starting out small. What do I mean by this? One of the biggest mistakes that a lot of people make when they initially want to get speaking gigs is they set their sights for something that's too big right away. So maybe they think of, okay, I could speak at this big conference or in front of a big audience, when instead they should be thinking on a smaller level initially when they're starting out. If you want to get paid to speak, you need to start out small. 2 great places to start out are business meetups and universities. I've used these both and they work wonderfully. Here's me speaking on building a mobile app to a few dozen people at a small tech meetup. It's not sexy, but it's a great way to continue gaining experience. Universities are also a really good place to start. Reason why is that college professors are always looking to provide real-world value to their students. So if you're able to show them real examples and bring in a real-life case study, which is yourself, and bring value to their students, it'll be really a little bit easier for them to be able to want you to come in to speak to their students. Why? Because you bring a good real life example based on your personal experience. And if you don't live in the same town as the university, there's plenty of opportunities to do this virtually. So you can do this at community colleges, trade schools, universities, big and small. really anywhere that there is an audience and people would be willing to listen to what your story is, what your experience, and most importantly, what value you can offer them. So a question you might be wondering, well, Ryan, that's nice, but how do I get in contact with these professors at these universities to tell them that I'm interested in offering value and speaking to their students? What you need to do is pretty easy. You just go to the university's website, you go to the designated department, whether it's the business department, communications department, whatever your expertise lies in, and you look for their email, and then you go about outreach of sending them an email similar to the one I did. And it's as simple as that. You keep your email short, concise, offer lots of value. That's where you're at a point where you're communicating with them, you're getting some replies back, and then you just talk about when you can speak and get in front of that audience to speak and offer value to them. So start applying these 3 steps, these 3 tactics above, and you'll be well on your way to starting to actually get speaking gigs and getting in front of an audience and speaking. If you got value from this video, please go ahead and hit that like button, would greatly appreciate it, and make sure that you subscribe as well so that when we come out with more awesome content just like this, based on entrepreneurship, business, it will help you be notified and when that new content comes out. Have a great rest of the day, and we'll see you in the next video.